Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in another video today, and today we're going to be talking about a potential trade for the Houston Rockets, as the Houston Rockets potentially trading for power forward / center, who can even play a little bit at small forward, Chris Boucher of the Toronto Raptors, as there's been a lot of trade reports for the Houston Rockets over the last couple of days, as earlier in the week on Monday, Rockets guard Kevin Porter Jr. was arrested on felony assault charges. Do not want to get into, a lot of the other details for Kevin Porter Jr.'s arrest. I just don't like talking about violence on my channel. And I've said that a lot of times this week with, they don't really know how many times I said that this week talking about KPJ. But a couple days later, yesterday, it was reported by Shams that the Houston Rockets are working to trade Kevin Porter Jr. and draft compensation to basically any team. But their goal is to trade KPJ and draft compensation for a player. I don't know if that means a specific position of a player, but they're looking for a player for draft compensation and Kevin Porter Jr. Then earlier today, Shams then reports that the Houston Rockets, he basically re-says what he said yesterday, but now he said the Rockets are looking to trade multiple second-round picks, either 2 or 3 second-round picks with KPJ, which is more details than we knew before. Before, we just knew draft compensation. That could have been 1, 2, 3, or 4 second-round picks for that matter when Shams said that yesterday. But now we know the Rockets are trying to trade 2 or 3 second-round picks with Kevin Porter Jr. for a player in return. And there are a couple players that I've looked at trades and I've been eyeing. Chris Boucher is one I've had my eye on. One of the main names I've had my eye on, in my opinion, has been Evan Fournier. Because if Kevin Porter Jr. is on his way out, that means you kind of need a backup too. Fournier is a good player. He's a good three-point shooter. His contract's kind of terrible, but it's an expiring contract. So you trade KPJ's bad contract for Evan Fournier's bad contract. They're pretty much even. I think Fournier is about $18 million, or it is exactly $18 million, and KPJ's is almost $16 million. And then the Houston Rockets add in 2 or 3 second-round picks for Evan Fournier. I like that deal. Well, the deal we are here to talk about today is the Houston Rockets trading Kevin Porter Jr. for the Raptors for Chris Boucher, and the Raptors also get some second-round picks. I would believe it would be a deal sending KPJ and 2 2024 second-round picks for Chris Boucher. I'll be honest with you guys. This is a deal that I believe the Raptors would have done in July. Before KPJ's, problems happened. This was a deal I think, they would have done in July, and they would not have a problem doing this deal. Now, does that change? I say probably not. Look at the Raptors' guard problems right now. They lost Fred VanVleet in free agency, ironically, to the Houston Rockets, as Fred VanVleet is the new point guard of the Houston Rockets. And, he's an all-star guard. He's been a great player for them. They lost him. Who did they pick up? Dennis Schroeder. A guy I love. I loved watching him in Los Angeles last year. He's a good player. I especially loved him playing for our Rockets. He was, didn't do much here, but he's a great player. He's a good dude as well. But I just don't know about Dennis Schroeder as a backup, as a starting point guard. I really don't. I mean, you saw him start a little bit for the Lakers last year. Not at the end of the year. You really kind of saw him start when the Lakers kind of put Russell Westbrook on the bench. That was really the only reason he was starting for the Lakers in the first place. Was, whenever you really saw him start for the Lakers was if they had injuries, or he was just starting because, Russell Westbrook was terrible and they decided to make him the sixth man. So I don't think Dennis Schroeder is a starting point guard in the NBA. For that matter, do I think Kevin Porter Jr. is a starting point guard in the NBA? I mean, the only reason he was on a starting point guard for the Rockets last year is because, we were kind of terrible. And now with a revamped roster, he would have been the 7th or 8th man on this team this year. So, I mean, probably would have been the 7th or the 8th man on this roster. So, off the bench. So, I don't think KPJ is really of a starting point guard in the NBA as well. But Dennis Schroeder, if you think about it, he doesn't really have any competition at that point guard position. Who knows if KPJ is going to be able to get out of the trouble he is out of right now. I will say, I do not like to talk about violence on my channel, but KPJ is in enormous amount of trouble right now. But we have seen, I hate to say this, but the NBA has had a problem for, assault, cases and abusing and, you've seen players in the NBA get away with this kind of stuff for a long time. And I don't, I mean, I'm not going to say I hope KPJ gets out of this, but I'm not going to hope he doesn't get out of it. I'm just going to kind of stay away from it. But if he does get out of what he's in trouble for, which he probably will get suspended if he does get out of trouble for what he's done, that it kind of makes a little bit of a, competition for Dennis Schroeder. Because I don't really know if Dennis Schroeder's been a little bit of a starting point guard before earlier in his career with the Atlanta Hawks, a little bit last year with the Lakers, and even with his first stint with the Lakers, he was the starting point guard that year. I just don't know if this Raptors team is going to try to, stay for contention, and they're going to try to be solid with having Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., is if Dennis Schroeder is, their best option at point guard. But is Kevin Porter Jr. that much better either? You could probably consider KPJ a better scorer, while Schroeder's probably a better passer and facilitator. KPJ's probably a better rebounder. And I don't know. I would probably say KPJ is probably a better three-point shooter, but at the same time, KPJ and Schroeder are probably even at three-point shooting. They also probably know each other pretty well. They were teammates for half a season. I don't know how friendly they are with each other. But, yeah. But for the Rockets, for Chris Boucher, for that matter, I don't know if I would like the Rockets to trade for Chris Boucher. It's nothing, wrong towards him. It's just, I don't know if I want the Rockets to add in another power forward / small forward or center for that matter. He can play all three of those positions. Do the Rockets need any more of that, to be honest? Look at that small forward, power forward position off the bench. Here are the small forward / power forwards the Rockets already have off the bench. Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore, who are going to have way bigger seasons. Cam Whitmore going in his rookie season, Tari Eason going in his second year. Probably a healthy Jayshawn Tate. That's going to be really good for the Rockets. Jeff Green as well. You got 4 small forward / power forwards. Probably Jeff Green will have to play a little bit of center this year. I'm just going to be honest. You will probably see Jeff Green at the center position at times with the Houston Rockets, so you can see some of these forwards play. So you need you have 4 forwards on the roster off the bench that need some playing time. Why add in another? It just seems stupid to me, to be honest. And then, that center position, you have Jock Landale and Alperen Sengun. I'm not saying Jock Landale's better than Chris Boucher. I think they're pretty even. Probably Chris Boucher is better than Jock Landale. But spending all that money bringing in Jock Landale, I don't know why it makes sense to bring in Chris Boucher and then Jock Landale gets pushed out of the rotation. You also have Boban as the third backup. So I don't know what the point it would really be in adding in Chris Boucher. I think adding in a guy like Evan Fournier, where, if KPJ's off the team, you kind of now need a backup shooting guard, because if not, you're going to see someone like Aaron Holiday take over that backup shooting guard, which I have no problems with. I like Aaron Holiday, but you'd probably like someone better at that backup shooting guard. So I don't really know. I'm going to go over Chris Boucher's stats, but I just don't want it to happen because of the, all the small forward and power forward talent you already see off the bench for the Houston Rockets. Last 2 seasons with the Raptors, he's averaged 9.5 points per game. The 2021-22 season, he averaged 9.5 points per game with 6.2 rebounds per game. And then he had this past season, 2022-23 season, he averaged 9.5 points per game with 5.5 rebounds per game. His best season in the NBA by far, 2020-21 season, he played 60 games with 14 starts and 24 minutes per game with the Raptors. He averaged 14 points per game with 7 rebounds per game, 2 blocks per game, a half a steal per game, and 1 assist per game. Great season for Chris Boucher, and that was the year he was playing a little bit more small forward, played a little power forward, played some small forward for the Raptors that year. So, great season for Boucher in the 2020-21 season. Like I said, I like him on the Rockets. He's a great player. Just don't know if it makes sense with all the talent and young talent. Oh, you have young and old talent at that forward position. Jeff Green and Jayshawn Tate are a little bit older vets. Jayshawn Tate's like nearing 30. Jeff Green is more like nearing 40. And then, you got year 1 and year 2 guys in Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore. Just don't know if it makes sense bringing in Chris Boucher. But if this is really the only player you can get for Kevin Porter Jr., which I don't think it is, then you go for it. But I do think the Rockets could probably make a deal to work out KPJ 2 or 3 second-round picks for shooting guard / small forward Evan Fournier, and the Rockets would have a pretty good backup shooting guard off the bench in Evan Fournier, a good three-point shooter and a good scorer and a solid defender and a decent rebounder. I think that would be a really good acquisition for the Houston Rockets. I think the Houston Rockets would be a better team having Evan Fournier off the bench than Kevin Porter Jr. Hot take. Use them at your thoughts, Rockets fans. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Rockets.